Welcome to East Bay Insiders TV. I'm Steve Tavares. After nearly a year of highly negative news stories emanating from San Leandro City Council, signs of a voter uprising finally became evident this week. With me today is someone very well versed in the controversies of the DRO, former San Leandro City Council member Ed Hernández. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve, very much. And it's great to see you here in person in this lovely environment you've created for us to enjoy.
So let's get to it. To be clear, what happened at the City Council in San Leandro this week, you are not part of this grassroots group that spoke out against council members that have been under fire, Bryan Azevedo, Victor Aguilar Jr., and Fred Simon. That's correct, right?
Yes.
And so, so you were there. What were your thoughts about what was said by this group? It was some, for the first time, the really hot, ferocious kind of attacks on the things that these guys have done.
Well, I would just say a few words about that. It's about fucking time. Honestly. I mean, really, like you were writing about apathy in San Leandro, like where are the people? At some point, you get tired of trying to lead the conversation. And I wanted some people to step into this space and start asking for, well, in some cases, resignation. But we're really looking for accountability. We need some support and leadership. I mean, the council member that represents my district, of course, I won 2016. He's won 2020 during the pandemic and recently won by 400 votes and then goes, talks about all this different stuff that happened, and too bad for all these haters. But really proud and seeing this League of San Leandro women voters, the League of San Leandro voters, which are led by females in our community, which is great. Some of which I've met, had no idea who they were until last night. And it was great to see the mobilization, the grassroots effort, and looking to see more of them real soon. Yeah,
so you, during the campaign last year, you lost by a couple points to Azevedo for the district in that council race. But this is well noted. I wrote about it. Others wrote that during that campaign he was caught stealing your yard signs. He insinuated that you were behind this little infamous tussle that happened at the San Leandro Library following a candidate forum that you had, and now he's being targeted by the FBI. He once called you while you were a council member at, I think, National Night Out. He went to your house and you didn't appreciate him being there, and he called you a loser. Or actually, he had become this council member, and he called you a loser infamously also. Why do you still think, maybe until this week, that Bryan Azevedo still gets such a modicum of deference in San Leandro?
Well, I think we could see something here locally is happening nationally. Some people are very loyal or loyalists, and they think that they're always going to be right. They'll always have their back, and they might have some shortcomings, but that's not acceptable leadership. You need to make sure you're standing up for the people. You're there for them, not for you, to garner as much power as possible and privileges and trips to here and there and all these fancy toys and opportunities. A party like rock stars is what I understand. It's not cool. You have responsibilities. This is a public servant role. You're there for the community, not to enrich yourself. And I think that's the challenge. Sometimes you see people who have power want to hold on to it and get more than ever possible. And you fall in a space. If people are not held accountable by not only the residents and the voters, but also by the media, people like you, then they try to get away with murder. And it's unfortunate that it's taken about a year, but there's been more and more information lined up that this is creating a chaotic environment.
Now, we talked about Bryan Azevedo, but there's two others that have been taking some heat, Councilmember Victor Aguilar Jr. and Fred Simon, for different allegations. It does seem that maybe in San Leandro, on Nextdoor and Facebook, that there's not that much, there's not the same kind of deference that we're seeing for Bryan Azevedo for these two. Why do you think? Is it possibly because there has been some city independent investigations into the specifics, and Bryan Azevedo's we don't know yet because we don't see anything from the FBI?
Yeah, I think there's a different sort of in-your-face element of what you're seeing on TV now, being covered by multiple outlets. Of course, you led the conversation about what was going on. And with the other two council members, I think that's seems like more of a lawsuit internal investigation, not being as highly publicized now. I know that when I did sit down with Fran over a year ago, she seemed rather stressed and very challenged with the environment that she was dealing with. And I knew there would just be a matter of time before she would leave. Didn't exactly know why, but all these, the lawsuit and allegations and the censure seemed like it adds up to being not a great place to work. And when I was running my campaign, knowing that over 20% turnover of the 100+ employees are leaving City Hall, there had to be a reason why. A lot of times when people leave organizations, because of the leadership or lack of leadership and the chaos. And some are still staying there. And we're happy to know that some of those long-term public servants who are on staff are still serving the community. It's great, but there's a lot more opportunity need to get ready for what's coming, which is a lot of San Leandro is a sanctuary city. So if we're not ready with our A team, looks like we're with the B team in some cases, we need to get ready. And then we need to see these changes happen. And some people asked these 3 council members to step aside last night, and they built that case, which is a solid case, in my opinion.
Yeah, it actually, I was impressed by that group. They didn't come out angry. There was kind of like if your mom was so upset with you that they just read you the riot act, but there was no anger in it. That was it was almost a pitch perfect tone that you really couldn't, if you're on the other side, you really can't rebut. But I want to ask you one last thing here. So you referenced this earlier. You beat Bryan Azevedo for open seat for the city council in 2016. And then there was a rematch in 2020 in COVID times, which a lot of races were affected. I'm saying that he didn't win that one fair and square, but there was a lot of different results because of the COVID times. We were really in deep COVID then. And then in 2024, he narrowly beat you again. There's a chance that these, I would say a good chance that these pending allegations against Bryan Azevedo are going to be pretty bad. It could result in a resignation that these people were talking about. Are you interested in an appointment if that were to come up one day?
Yeah, no, I was asked early on after the raid or what have you, if I'd be interested by one of the elected officials in San Leandro. And I said, sure, let's talk about it, see what I could bring of value to the table and serve our community. I've always wanted to serve San Leandro in the best way possible. I continue to do so as the Eden Health District Director. They're deploying over $1 million to help save St. Rose Hospital, plus over $300,000 to $600,000 in grants. So I'm still serving the community, but we need to move our city forward with empty storefronts. There's still no traffic enforcement in San Leandro. Anybody can speed through the town. There's still boarded up opportunities to invest in our space. Because right now, I'm not even sure if I want to live here. And it's that bad that I'm hoping that we can move forward together soon and move us in the better direction that we're at right now. Because right now, I don't think too much is getting done. Like, let's fix one road that's closed so that people don't have to worry about people speeding through the neighborhood. Simple as that. You break one part of the town, fix it. They should have the resources for it and be able to align together to move us forward. And then right now, I think there's so much stuff happening in City Hall that you can't really focus on one thing because there's one thing over here, one thing over here. Like, which way do I go? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. And it's too bad. But, you know, I tell people, well, enjoy the day you voted for. And that's what they have right now. And we got to work harder to get a better day.
Yeah, you know, on Tuesday night before the meeting, I did talk to a couple of people who said the same thing you just said. And it's very, I felt like they meant it. And they were saying, like, yeah, they don't know if they want to live in San Leandro anymore. And that's like, wow, that's, you know, it could be hyperbole, but, you know, if you're going to say that out loud, then you've been thinking about it. So that's a very worrisome thing for anybody in that city. I want to ask you one more thing. You know, there's a lot of talk about this infrastructure bond that may be coming to San Leandro voters next year, much needed, especially for roads and maybe other stuff. In this current atmosphere, and being that we would be a year away from, if it was a November 2026 ballot measure, we're a year away from when that campaign really would get started, and not knowing a lot of stuff of how bad these scandals are going to be. Do you think it's even wise to even try to get spend money for this campaign?
Well, I think they want to run it in June in the primary, and they have a laundry list of things like fixing like Shippo Road, street improvements, fire stations, and many other things. But without having to clean house or reorganize the house, there's no real shot in hell that this bond measure will pass. It's unfortunate because the city really needs these resources to improve the quality of life maintain or prevent, improve our firehouses, fix those roads, and make our community safe for all. And without this bond measure, it's going to be difficult. I mean, you see what they're saying in Pleasant about shutting down some services they had to cut down. Hayward may have to do some other things. San Leandro needs this bond money to improve it. But without having good leadership, there's negativity in our community, and they need a 50+1% majority. I think it's very difficult, even though you have somebody really aligned, understands how to run campaigns, with Evan Gonzalez leading the effort as a citizen in the community who knows a lot about where people vote, how to get it done. But it's going to be hard when you might not trust local government, and the government adjacent person might make it difficult to sell.
Yeah. June 2026, there's a possibility that the Bryan Azevedo is tied up in the Sheng Tao Duong stuff, and they're talking about, if you're going to be talking about a ballot measure in San Leandro with voter distrust, there's a possibility that Sheng Tao, if it goes to a trial, would be happening at the same time. So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that we don't know, that it's going to make it very difficult for a lot of decisions to be made, not just San Leandro, Oakland, maybe in other cities. But thank you for joining me, former San Leandro council member Ed Hernández.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. And for everybody else, if you haven't done already, subscribe today, the East Bay Insiders newsletter. Get a 7-day subscription and go and get that at eastbayinsiders.substack.com.